Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Pathetically Unfiltered. This is my news portion segment. If you are new here, welcome to this channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button and share this video with all of your friends. And if you are not new, welcome back. Let's dive into a specific topic that I wanted to talk about: Magas regretting their votes. But before we begin, I just want to say if you love this content and you love my channel, please do support my channel. Here is my Cash App. I am not monetizing as of yet. I do need the hours. I have the subscribers. I do need the hours. So please watch this video in its entirety. Share it with your friends. Ask them to also watch the video and comment below. This helps push my channel to the algorithm, and then more people can have fun with my sarcastic sense of humor with news. And if you didn't get a chance, please do watch the last video that I did on Aaron Goodwin and Victoria Goodwin, who is a clout chaser. And she was like doing a murder for hire to actually murder Aaron Goodwin of Ghost Adventures, which is completely insane. And I will be diving back into this topic because Nick Groff put out a very strange tweet, and I will be talking about that in my next segment. So please do support this channel. And as you know, I do have a store, servebox.com. I will put all of those links down below. Shop to your heart's content, support small business. And who doesn't need soap, lotion, and scrubs? Let's get started. I noticed for the last few months that I have been watching a lot of different content creators on TikTok and on YouTube as well, who have been having these spars or debates with Trump supporters. And I can tell you, it's completely insane. You have, like, it seems like the two type of Trump supporters. You have the type that really doesn't know any better, which is the majority of them. They talk about these policies that are non-existent. They talk about the border, like all of a sudden it has become a major problem in their life. This is what I understand. Are you losing sleep over the border wall? Help me understand, because I really don't. It's almost comical. Like when I'm thinking about it, I want to laugh because never, ever, ever in a million years would I have think that like millions of people would be so worried about the border wall. It is completely bizarre. And then of course they throw in, oh, well, everybody that comes in is a criminal. Really? Prove it. Then they have no proof. And it just goes down this spiral of nonsensical bullshit, basically. It starts not to make any sense. It starts not to make sense the minute that they open up their mouth and they start sharing these crazy propaganda, trying to lure people. Because this is the goal. Like the people who are not so focused on the border are the ones that talk about finances. And these are the people, to me, in my own personal opinion, who are the most dangerous. They are like the soldiers of who Jim Jones would have had in trying to lure people into the People's Temple. And while people may not see the correlation between Jim Jones and Donald Trump, it is very, very real. I did a whole expose on this on the Unfiltered Rabbit Hole. I will leave that link down below, basically doing the comparison of Jim Jones and other cult-like organizations where some people are in jail and some people are not. They're not of this existence, unfortunately, due to the facts of believing in this cult ideology, and that everybody else outside of the cult were the crazy ones. And this is what's going on now. And it's even more scary because this person is the president of the United States. In my opinion, the most hated person worldwide. And for those who don't see that are the ones with the true problem. Now, I'm not sure what a lot of people were hearing when the campaign was going on. People had issues with Kamala Harris. They didn't know about her policies. They didn't know how she was going to overcome a lot of the things that she was talking about implementing. And they all sounded well and good. And I think had we had her for a president, we wouldn't be in the dire chaos that we are in now. And Trump supporters still will not see that. They believe all of this chaos is necessary in order to bring back New World Order. Because let's be real about this. There are people, men, I want to say, who have an issue being secondary when it comes to society, when it comes to how people choose to live. And they want to implement their unrealistic points of view to enforce on other people because they feel that it's right. So here I made this list, okay? The recurring theme with Magas and why they voted for Trump. They have a border issue. They think that migrants are criminals. They believe Elon is finding wasteful spending. Instead, he fired employees because he didn't find wasteful spending. What he did was he started going on a firing spree. And if you look back on 2 videos that I did before about all of this bullshit, probably Donald Trump praised the way Elon came in with a kitchen sink and firing everybody on Twitter. And this is what Donald Trump wanted somebody to do. He wanted somebody to come into the federal government and start firing people without cause. And this is what happened. They also believe that they are going to get a $5,000 check. So you voted for something that there was no guarantee that you were going to have in the first place. That was one thing. They believe with their whole chest that Donald Trump loves people of color. And we know for a fact that he does not. And we know that because of how they are erasing Black history, how they got rid of DEI while people are believing that DEI was there in place for Black and brown people. No, DEI was really there for the white woman so that she can get a fair chance, especially in working in the corporate sector. Because when you had women, I should say, when you had women coming into the corporate sector, you started to find out that a man who was doing the same job as a woman, he was getting paid considerably more than a woman. I come from the world of working with lawyers, with attorneys at 2 of the biggest law firms I worked for, right? There were female attorneys that were not making the same salary as a male attorney, even though they were both busting their ass with the hourly rate that they were charging to the client. Now, one can say, well, maybe because she had less time as a seasoned attorney. And that's all well and good. How they decide the rates, man versus woman, when they're both having the same knowledge, I really don't know. If you're an attorney, I would like to know how you decide these rates and why a female attorney would get less than a male attorney. Also, DEI is DEIA, which what I found out, the A stands for accessibility. You have people who are disabled in wheelchairs, or maybe they can't hear too well. There's different types of disability. So with that being said, if a person is in a wheelchair, but they have the experience of being a social worker, being a psychologist, being an IT person, being an engineer, and it does not hinder them from performing the job. This is why we have DEIA, because the idea is an employer who is interviewing somebody in a wheelchair should not make a judgment, well, that person is in a wheelchair, so they can't do the job, when that is not necessarily true. There are many of people who are in a wheelchair who can do an excellent job at what they learned, what they educated themselves for, what they graduated for, whatever degree that they have. So it's not fair to a person who has all of the skills for a job and can't get the job because they're in a wheelchair. For me, that's bullshit. When it comes to DEIA, we need to understand why this was implemented in the first place so that everybody was hired based on merit. And then people who are Trump supporters want to distort that and gaslight people and think that DEIA was doing a favor for people. But because people have so much deep-rooted hate in their heart, Trump supporters did not acknowledge Project 2025. They actually believe that this was a figment of a playbook. And if you remember what Governor Walz said, he said, nobody makes a playbook without the intent to use it.
Some folks just don't understand what it takes to be a good neighbor. Take Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Their Project 2025 will make things much, much harder for people who are just trying to live their lives. They spent a lot of time pretending they know nothing about this. But look, I coached high school football long enough to know, and trust me on this, when somebody takes the time to draw up a playbook, they're going to use it.
And this was the plan all along. And here's the fun part. This is always my fun part. Trump supporters believe they are exempt.
More fallout from the cuts by Elon Musk and his Doge team. President Trump got more than 70% of the vote in Wood County, West Virginia last November. But some people who find their federal jobs in limbo now say they regret supporting him. Randy Kay has more.
This flag used to hang there.
This was the flag Jennifer Piggott proudly hung outside her home during campaign 2024.
We had the flag. I had the shirt. I was a MAGA junkie.
A MAGA junkie who thought her government job would be safe with Donald Trump in office. She was wrong.
I cried. It's scary, you know, it's a really scary thing. And I was embarrassed. He's a good boy.
Piggott was abruptly fired last month from the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service, based here in Parkersburg, West Virginia. The reason given for the firings of 125 probationary employees at the Bureau? Poor performance.
I had my last review on the 31st of January, and I had the highest rating that you can get on a review, less than 21 days before I was terminated for my performance.
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did.
Do you regret that vote?
Yes, I do. To cut the knees out of the working class Americans just doesn't make sense to me. I expected more from President Donald Trump.
Since speaking out, Piggott says she's received death threats and her home has been egged. This woman asked us not to show her face for fear of retribution. She recently retired from the Bureau of Fiscal Service because she was afraid of losing her health insurance if she was fired. She also voted for Trump.
Would you still have supported him?
I'm not sure that I would have. The way that it's been done, I'm for balancing the budget, that type of thing, but not in this context. It's just not right.
Now, let me just stop for a minute, because there was something that she said that I want to point out in when they asked her, would she still vote for him, or she regretted her vote. I'm talking about this lady here. And I think to myself, had it been a different Republican candidate, would she have still voted Republican? Because there are people who remain faithful to their party regardless. And these people remained faithful to their party because they actually believed Donald Trump was going to make a difference a second time around.
Earlier this month, a federal judge ordered half a dozen federal agencies to immediately offer thousands of probationary employees their jobs back. But this week, the Trump administration asked the Supreme Court to put that judge's ruling on hold and stop those employees from returning to work. Eric Engel is a representative for the National Treasury Employees Union.
They are fully reinstated, all 125 of them. They are on paid admin leave.
Now they're getting paid for not doing their job. So did the government really save any money here?
Not at all, no. That's not, I personally don't believe that was ever the point, but they're not saving any money from these probationary and trial period employee firings. This has nothing to do with eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse.
In a statement regarding the reinstated employees, a spokesperson for the Treasury Department told us they are weighing how best to consider their performance, Treasury's operational needs, and the Trump administration's government-wide effort to increase efficiency.
Come here, baby.
That's hardly any consolation to Jennifer Piggott and her family.
If you could say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected better from you. I really did. I expected that you would do what was right and cut waste and fraud and all of those things that you promised us before we elected you in office, but you're not doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America's going to look like if this continues.
Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Where do I begin with everything that she said? She expected for him to do better. Did she not listen to Kamala Harris's speech? Did she not hear when Kamala Harris was saying how he was plotting and putting together a revenge list? That his best interest for the country was only for himself? How he did not care about the American people, that he only cared about himself? She still believed that they were going to find wasteful spending, and she thought she was exempt. She thought her privilege, let's call it what it is, she thought her privilege was going to make her exempt. And I do not feel anything for this woman. I do not feel empathy. I do not feel bad. Her decision, as well as many others, put us in the mess that we are in now. And this is the next day after the handoff protest that just happened. Yeah, and I'm curious to know, other than watching Fox News and Jesse the Twat Waters and Laura Ingraham and that other lady who looks like she rolled out of bed talking about the finances, Maria Bartiromo, do you not listen to anything outside of entertainment news? E is an entertainment news. Their breaking news is Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez. What other celebrities? Tom Hanks. Whoever you can think of. That's their breaking news. Bachelor breakups, drama, entertainment. Fox is entertainment. Fox likes to spread propaganda. They go to bed at night not thinking about the well-being of the American people. They do not care. They are getting paid to spread propaganda. They are getting paid to spread hate. In my own personal opinion. That's what I see. It's hard to listen to the other side because it's so crazy. It's hard going inside a TikTok MAGA room listening to people spew more hate, especially when it's Black and brown people. That to me blows my mind because they don't hear themselves. They don't like themselves. They hate themselves. That's what it is. I don't know what happened while you were growing up, but you know, there is therapy. There's always therapy to sort all of these things out, to find a way to love yourself. There really is. I didn't like myself for a long time, And I took it to a whole other route where I found myself in a 12-step meeting. That was my life. 33 and a half years later, here I am. Every day is work for me. Nothing is perfect. Do I get depressed? Yes. Am I unhappy sometimes? Yes. Am I happy sometimes? Yes. Do I like everything that's going on in my life? No. But are there parts of my life that I'm happy with? Yes. Up and down, up and down. But you know what? The one thing that I don't do is I don't go out and use. I don't escape from my feelings. I deal with it on a day-to-day basis, even when I don't like it, even when it hurts my own feelings, because that is the way I grow up. That experience helps me deal with everything else that comes into my life. And Trump supporters don't know how to do that. And the people who try to be the financial savvy person of the group, they are the ones who are more dangerous. They are the ones spewing propaganda to make money off of the minions. They don't care. I cannot say that enough. And here's the other crazy aspect to this. Being a cult member, being gaslit, and I'm going to speak from the experience, and it's another link that I'm going to put down below of my experience of being with a narcissist. That is abuse, okay? Not only being with a narcissist, but being scammed by a narcissist. One never thinks to themselves. You look at 48 Hours, you look at all of these different documentaries of women getting scammed, and you say to yourself, how did they not see it? And then one day I was sitting in that chair, didn't see it until I was fully invested to a point that I realized I have got to get out of this mess. This person is doing absolutely nothing for me. He tells me one thing, and the next day he'll sit there full on lie to my face. I never said that. I don't know what you're talking about. You've got the story wrong. That's not the way I said it. With a straight fucking face. That's what I was dealing with till he finally left. I gave him an ultimatum. You got to leave. But I had to do things within the safety confines to make sure that I was safe, to make sure that my family was safe. That was the way I had to do it, because you never know what people are capable of. And I was not going to wind up on 48 hours and being spoken about in the past tense. Sorry, I had to protect myself. Now you look at this shit on a bigger scale with more people buying into the propaganda and believing all of this stupid bullshit for what? A $5,000 check? $5,000 doesn't last very long, people. And you know, while I believe also, while people may believe that they have made a tragic mistake, here is the problem. I'm sure that a lot of people who went to these rallies yesterday, I'm sure that they voted for Trump. You're going to tell me that all of that crowd in there weren't Trump supporters? They probably were, and they changed their mind. And they were in there, and they're disgusted because they bought into the propaganda that Trump was spewing with this whole wasteful spending. And we're going to close the borders, and we're going to make these changes, and we're going to make America great again. America has been always great. It's Donald Trump that doesn't like the United States of America. He doesn't like Black and brown people. Again, in my own personal opinion, he doesn't like that women get a chance to succeed and be educated. He doesn't like these things. And he finds his tribe who sits there and agrees with all of this nonsense.
When one person, when a few stand with the courage, that is the courage exhibited by the leaders in this room every day, to stand, to have the courage to say, I feel fear. The courage to say what is happening is wrong. The courage to say that there is a way that we must chart to get through this. Understanding our power in the democracy we still have if we hold on to it. Courage is contagious. We are seeing organizations stay quiet. We are seeing those who are capitulating to clearly unconstitutional threats. And these are the things that we are witnessing each day in these last few months in our country. And it understandably creates a great sense of fear. Because, there were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
I wonder if people who call themselves Republicans are filled with so much hate, especially women Republicans. They just couldn't see themselves voting for a woman president, voting for a Black female president, making these claims how women are too emotional. Women saying that. But you have a big baby in the White House who shits on himself and complains like a baby, complained for 4 years non-stop about stolen election. And shame on all of these legacy medias who every day gave this man airtime. I was tired of hearing it. So I wonder, Republican people, do you have that much hate in your heart? If it was a different Republican candidate and they were the best of Democrats who would make a difference in this country, would you still vote Republican, knowing full well that person is not capable enough to run the country for all Americans, not just the Republican Party? As I said in the beginning of the show, there seems to be two types of MAGAs. There are the MAGAs who are the sheep, and there are the MAGAs who are the grifters, who blatantly lie in people's faces so that they could continue their own grift. Because they found a tribe of grifters similar to multi-level marketing, where they can continue spewing their own propaganda for their own outrageous sort of nonsense so they can benefit from those people who are the sheep. So with all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off. And always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.